Hello my little freak uniques, thank you for coming back to my channel for yet another video. Today we're going to be focusing on a nose contour, so get the supplies that you need and we're going to get to this. What you're going to need is two brushes. I mean, you can definitely use one, but I feel like two make it just that much more perfect because one's going to be a little bit of a fluffier brush. Can you see that? Cool. And then the other is going to be a little bit more of like a sculpting, detailed type work with this brush. You're also going to need eyeshadows. I like to use eyeshadows because I feel like cream contour is a little too, I don't know, intense, especially for daytime looks. So if you really want like a soft look, I feel like it's much more ideal to use powder. So depending on the occasion and what I have my makeup like or so on and so forth, I use different eyeshadow palettes. I have three of them that I usually use. I use this Kevyn Aucoin. So I use this shade right here, which is called Olive. And then I use this shade right here just to really deepen in certain areas. Another one of my favorites is this Dior Backstage. If you could see, I've given it a lot of love. I've used all the primer in that one. All right, and the color that I use is called Ombre Sculpting Powder, which is, you know, kind of ironic because I use it to sculpt my nose, but it is a sculpting eyeshadow palette, so what do you expect? So I use this color right here. It's like a grayish cool tone. And the last one that's obviously one of my complete favorites because I'm legit out. I'm just scraping up the edges with this one. It's perfect. It's the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette. I don't know if they still sell this one. I think they discontinued this one. I'm not too sure. And well, yeah, I use those three. And if I don't have those, I grab any palette that I have that I can find the coolest tone that has, you know, something that's not too dark. Because you want something that's just going to cast a shadow, nothing that's going to legit look like lines. You want something that's going to look like a shadow effect. So let's get into this. We're going to be using the Dior Backstage. So grab any tapered fluffy brush that you have like this. You can either use a brush that's like this, or if you have any fluffy ones that are like this, you can even use something like this, just because you know how there's this wider end, this wider side, and there's also this like much thinner side. If you use this thinner side, it will be, you know, quite ideal. Right now I'm going to be using the A25 from Anastasia, and I'm going to tap into that really light color, tap off the excess, and I'm going to start from where my bridge begins, and I'm going to slowly drag it down. And when I drag it down, I'm going to want to make the illusion that my nose is a little bit more smaller. So usually my nose will be out to here. I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up, and I'm going to do it right on the corner of, like, I don't know how to explain that part. Like the roundness of where my nose is, that's where I'm going to start kind of like dragging it down. So let me go ahead and kind of do it so maybe it will make more sense while I'm actually applying it. So let's see. Hopefully you can see. All right, there's obviously nothing on my nose. Let you see what my nose looks like now. Just a Squidward nose. Nothing too cute. All right, let's get into this. All right, be very, very soft with it. You don't want to put too much pressure because remember, you have foundation on your nose and you don't want to pull that foundation down because it's obviously the center of your face, and if something's wrong on the center of your face, it's going to be quite noticeable. At least I noticed absolutely everything And so I just, like with this part, you can either tap it in and go all the way down just to be a little bit more on that safer side, or do small stroke motions so it's not so harsh. So you can either go like this, you see it's slowly building up some kind of shadow, or you can tap it in. Always remember though, tap off the excess powder off of your brush before you apply it to your face. I mean, it helps with less fallout, and it helps, you know, not having such blotchy eyeshadow, because you don't want to have blotchy eyeshadow. You want to have very blended eyeshadow. So go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Let me move that mirror so you can see me. I'm gonna go ahead and do those small stroke motions downward. And when I try to go in like a little bit of like a V shape. So I'm starting obviously wide up here, and then I'm going little by little all the way down to like a point. So like where my nose is, it's like a little V that I'm creating on my nose, or a long V, should I say. So go ahead and do those small strokes all the way down to the tip of your nose. Alright, and then once you feel like you got them lines mostly on, you can go ahead and clean off your brush on a rag. So after you got your lines in, you want to go over that area just a little bit more, strokes over those areas. And then right here, where it's pretty much the center, do not try to touch anything that's in the center right here, okay? But blend that edge that's closest to the middle. And then go on the other side, blend that edge. Alright, so we're getting somewhere. And then if you feel like it's not enough just yet, if you feel like it's, you know, very subtle, too subtle, kind of invisible, you can go ahead and get into your product just one last time, tap off that excess, start from the top, and blend a little downward. And go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. And blend downward in a bit of a point. So we pretty much got the basics down of the two lines on the face of, it kind of looks like this. So you pretty much did this on your face. And now if you have any pressed powder, translucent, or any loose powder that you can use for a bit of a cleanup, go ahead and grab that now. I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty translucent powder. So with any clean brush that you have, I guess you needed 3 brushes. I lied, sorry. But if you want, you can use if you want, you can use another brush, or you can use a beauty blender. But I like to use a brush because I really like to get in there and get a really nice clean line. So get a little bit of the translucent powder on your brush, just like this. Tap off a little bit of the excess, not too hard, because you want as much product on the brush as possible. And right here where your tear duct is, or I don't know what you would consider, just this little pocket right here. So you're gonna start right here and you're gonna go straight down. So tap motions all the way down on the side of your nose. And that's really gonna help make that nose a lot more slimmer. So tap in over, you're gonna go a little bit on your nostril too. You're gonna go on your nostril and a little bit on your cheek. And it's okay if you pack it on because you're gonna blend that away in a minute. You're pretty much just like baking the sides of your nose, kind of. So just press that powder in. And do the same thing on the other side. Get into that pocket and pull down. Pack that on. Alright, once you've gotten the baking on the sides of your nose, you're going to want to go ahead and grab that small detail brush that you have. Or if you don't have a small detail brush like this one, even a brow brush would be perfectly fine, because that's what I always used to use as well. So you can also use a brow brush, so something that's similar to this. And with this right here, we're gonna do this. Your palette that you have for your brows or your eyeshadow or anything that has two-tone colors, one a little bit darker and then one is your shadow shade. So, and what I mean by that is this one's the one that you're going to be using to sculpt out your nose, like what we just did right now, okay? So that's that one. The darker color is to really define certain contours of your nose to really make it look like a bomb nose. So here, let me go ahead and just demonstrate. So first I'm going to step into that lighter color, the one where I went down both sides of my nose. I'm stepping into that color. I'm just putting a little bit underneath my nose right here. And with this, it helps shorten up your nose so your nose doesn't look entirely long. So putting a eyeshadow underneath your nose helps shorten it. And I feel like helps bring the nose together a little bit. So after you feel like you've casted that shadow underneath your nose, blend that a little bit away. Grab your brow brush or your little sculpting brush, dip into a little bit of a darker brown or a little bit of a darker contour color. And this is what I do. Like, you don't have to do this. You can keep your nose just like this, but I do this just for added effect, okay? So I do this little tiny line right here underneath my nose. And like I bring it up. And it helps cast that illusion that you have like a little button nose. Just a little button nose. Nothing too dramatic, nothing too crazy. I don't know why I've always liked the effect of like a very dramatic eye, very dramatic lip, and just a very soft nose. I'm not a huge fan of a very harsh nose contour. I like my nose to just be a really defined, cute nose, and everything else just very dramatic. The only time that I add drama to my nose area is if I do like war paint lines, or if I put like a bloody nose or anything like that. But for the most part, I try to keep my nose clean try not to put so much product on it, because I feel like that's where you can tell if your makeup is really cakey or not. I try my hardest to not put as much product or have to use any type of like work around my nose. I try to keep it just hands off, brushes off, work off, anything that's just not putting any type of strain to the foundation that's on the nose. Because I mean, I don't know why, but I feel like my nose is always itchy when I have makeup on, and I feel like I just want to scratch it off, and I don't. So I just kind of like tap it, or just grab like a toothpick or anything, or one of my spikes that are on one of my clothing for the most part, and just like start tapping my nose kind of like this with it. And I mean, of course, throughout the night, I'm like done with all my makeup and I'm about to wash it off, I have like all these little dots and stuff like that. So I'd rather that than like have a mess on my nose the first moment that I put on my makeup, and then my face just looks like a mess when I'm done, and that's not cute. Anyways, let's go back into that contour color, grab a little of that dark and start applying it here up on the top, just to really pull down that nose and help define that skinny little nose that we're trying to create. Alright, and what's really gonna bring this nose contour and all of it together is a little bit of that highlight. So if you have any highlight, go ahead and grab that, and you want any highlight that's gonna complement your skin, so go ahead and pick out your highlight. The highlight that I'm gonna be using is the Dior Backstage. Again, one of my favorite highlighters. I think it's beautiful. It works with everybody's skin tone because it has every color range that you can think of. It has your white, pink, gold, and deep brown. It's a blush. The fuck? Okay. Grab into your highlight with a little brush, or you can even do it with your finger, but I have fat fingers, so I'm not going to do it with my finger. I'm going to do it with the brush. So go ahead and do that exclamation point on your face. So you want to go ahead and do a little line on the bridge of your nose. And then a dot on the center of your nose. Oh, not the center, the tip of your nose. Alright, so with any of the excess, you can go ahead and either brush that off, and when brushing that away, you can pretty much just blend it into your nose contour already, so it kind of like it kind of washes out a little bit of those lines, so it doesn't also look so harsh. So you can go ahead and pick that up, but you want to like leave it as not as white as possible, but you want to like leave some product on the sides of your nose right here to really cast that illusion that this part is kind of like, you know, blended into your face and this part is projecting a little bit more. So that is it. That is the nose contour. Hopefully you liked it and followed along and you got some tricks and some ideas that you can go ahead and do on yourself, or you can go ahead and do it on somebody else. So thank you for watching.